start with the OU. Let's go talk about the OU women who clinched another Big 12 title. They're 6th, I believe. Yep. And then in the midst of all this warm fuzzies and the celebration of the last home game for the seniors, Courtney and Ashley Paris, there goes Courtney. She grabs the mic and does what?
Well, she guarantees a national championship. She says, we're going to win a national championship. Of course, everybody goes crazy because, there's all sorts of people left and watching the senior speeches. And she says, you know what? If we don't, here's my deal. If we don't win a championship, I'll pay back my scholarship. She says, it may take me my whole life, but I'll personally pay back my scholarship. And, it set everybody at Twitter. That was sort of the finale to senior night. There had already been the video tributes and the neck cutting and the balloons falling from the rafters, all the speeches. She was the last one, and that's the final thing she says. And, everybody's, of course, going crazy. She has the will of a champion. With Connecticut out there, they also have players like her that intend to win a championship. So I think it's going to be so much fun to see what they do in the next couple weeks because they're going to be sort of right in this area the whole time. Could go to Lubbock for their first NCAA regional rounds. Then they will probably be here in Oklahoma City. And then St. Louis is the Final Four. They could do all this within, driving distance of Norman. I think it's going to be a lot of fun to watch.
What's a scholarship at OU cost for 4 years? Out-of-state tuition?
A bunch. More than maybe she realizes. They don't pay that well in the WNBA. So
if it still exists once you get
there. Well, old Dave Stern's, it probably cost $25,000 a year for out-of-state.
Yeah. So tell you what, if they beat UConn, Sherry Cole might cut her a check. Why not? Might be in her bonus. Courtney Paris bonus.
Do the Sooners have what it takes to back that up?
Well, they got a shot. UConn's an overwhelming favorite. I still want to see OU take better care of the ball. I still don't think they take good care of the ball. And frankly, they should have won. They had no business messing around with Tech for 30 minutes last night at home. So, they still got some things to iron out. But I think they're the second best team in America. Now, whether that means they're closer to number 1 or closer to number 40, that's to be determined.
They had as many turnovers last night as field goals made. It was 23-23, and that was an interesting game within the game to watch last night.
Sounds like a Thunder game.
Potentially. But I'll tell you this. I think Connecticut is head and shoulders above the field. But this Oklahoma team is closer to this Connecticut team than Oklahoma and Connecticut were in 2002, and everybody knows what happened when those two teams matched up in the national championship game. That was a heck of a game. Oklahoma had probably no business staying as close as they did with a team that sent, I think, 4 players the next day to the WNBA, had centers that, Jamie Talbert looked like she was a 5th grader standing against them. So this team is a lot better equipped to play Connecticut. I don't know if they beat them, but like I said, this is intriguing. That Courtney Paris last night gave the nation a soundbite that we're going to hear again and again and again as this tournament gets going. And They've got what it takes. They need to cut down the turnovers. I agree with Barry. You can't win a championship with 20-plus turnovers a game.
Don't forget, they got a helping hand, Whitney Hand, coming back.
That's right.
She'll be back next week.
Next week in time for the Big 12 tournament?
I'm not a doctor, but I play one on TV. She'll be. We'll see her in the Cox Center, I think.
Okay, finally, folks, let's talk about the Big 12 tournaments coming into town. But that's not an annual event in Oklahoma. Mm-hmm. The question before us is, what is the best annual event that happens in the state of Oklahoma from a sporting standpoint? John, you first.
Well, I'm glad I get to go first because I think we all want to say the same thing. At least I do. I can go in there today, the Big House. I can't get enough of the Big House. It's perfect for the high school tournament. And I just love how everybody enters stage right and exits stage left. It's perfect.
Jenny?
My only close second would be Women's College World Series because it has become such an extravaganza. But I go Big House, and especially Big House when it's A and B state tournament. I know there'll be more games next weekend. You'll probably see better teams and better talent than you will this weekend. But for towns that it means everything to, they all get together at the Big House. This is where it is. I love the Big House on Class A and B state championship weekend.
Well, you guys picked 2 of my favorites, so to be different, I'll say Bedlam football. Used to be Bedlam basketball, but Bedlam football's turned into a heck of a deal, especially in Stillwater. Never know what you're going to get. Cowboys won a couple in a row. Now the Sooners have a big winning streak, but it's always fun. And This year, Sam Bradford doing cartwheels. So I'll go Bedlam football.
I'm going to go back to the A and B state tournament, and here's why. It's the town participation, but it's also, especially in the early rounds, the idea that you can look yourself in the mirror and then look out on the court and see people who look a little bit like you and run a little bit like you playing for a state championship. We're not talking about great athletic specimens here. We're talking about kids who just play hard. We all project ourselves. That's why I like it. That's all for the press row, but you can stay with the best coverage team anywhere, every day at News OK, and every morning in the Oklahoma.